Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Wednesday, July 12th, 2023. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy Hump Day, everyone. Here's a look at the ES in the daily time frame right here. You'll see the ES has rallied from the lows of the week and has already gone outside week to the upside. You can see right here the previous week's low right there being rejected early Monday here prior to the RTH Open, able to hold that into the close. The next session here yesterday, a little bit of a pullback and then a continuation to the upside. And here, prior to the RTH Open, inflation data coming out and the market getting a bump higher on that inflation data and pushing price through the previous week's high, previous month's high, previous quarter's high, and we are now sitting at 4508. 0.75 and pushing higher within this uptrending structure right now. Overall, you're seeing a continuation to the upside, and from the low of the week, which is currently 44.11, we were looking at about 100 to 130 points of range for the week. And right now, from 45.11, we are right there. Basically 4510.75. That's 100 points from the lows of the week. We could still see more strength beyond that. Again, as we mentioned, about 130 points of range for the week. So we could still see more upside up ahead, up toward about 45.40 at the very least. Overall, how the day finishes will be very important. Now that we are at the highs of the session, we're above 4,500, we're above the previous highs here. If we end up finishing the day back below the midpoint for the day or back to new lows and throwing off a big tail, that could be a pretty significant higher high failure, in which case we may snap back to 43.50 here and continue to trade in the range. So keeping an eye on where we finish the day by the end of the session. All right, taking a look here at the NQ. You'll see here the NQ pushing up toward the previous week's high, just shy of the previous week's high, but pushing up into that zone. Nice range-bound action here with an uptrending market still in play. Buy signals here coming out, and you can again see the early rejection at the previous week's low right there has been maintained, and we've seen a nice rotation to the upside here with a shot at seeing more strength up ahead. Again, we have this very narrow range that has developed here over the last several weeks. Eventually, a breakout from that range triggers the next key move. So watching the edges here in the NQ. Now, if we take a look here at crude oil, you'll notice right now crude oil currently trading above 75. Above 75 right now, trading at the top of the trading range. So a tremendous reversal here for crude oil. This thing rallying from the 67 lows all the way back up to the previous month's high right here. That's 75. We're right at the top of that range at the moment. There could be an opportunity here for a reaction back into the middle of the range and maybe across the range back towards 67. Got to see how the market responds to the 75 edge right now. As we mentioned before, if we're going to make a move to the upside and go find that 83.52 key level and top into the range here, then we're going to need a massive transition day that takes us well through 76 and 77. Shy of that, if we see any kind of reaction or rejection or fall back below 74s, that could be an indication we're going to make another move back down within the developing trading range here. So keeping an eye on this edge at 75. Taking a look here at gold futures, you'll see gold here making a move up. This market right now not finding new lows, instead continuing to challenge the 1940 level, and is now pushed as high as 1955 this morning, challenging the previous week's midpoint, continuing in a downtrend, but really not seeing much in the way of weakness this month so far. This outside or near outside day here was significant, a nice continuation, but over the last 4 days we've seen the market shake off that early weakness and push back up. So again, this is going to be an interesting level here. If price starts to find acceptance back above 1940, it opens up a retest back toward 2000 above. If, again, we fail by the end of the day and close back below 1940, and throw off a tail, it could be very similar to one of these tail events right before we rotate back down. So keeping an eye on how price closes by the end of the session. Lastly, taking a look here at the YM. The YM with a big time bounce off the lower edge down here, 33,800. We mentioned before, if there's a reaction here at this 33.8, we could be looking at a bounce back toward 34.6 and as high as 34.8. So we're right in the middle of that zone right now, 34,669 at the moment. Big time continuation back up the range, but again, still inside this trading range here. Do we find a breakout up ahead, or do we start to see a little bit of a topping out type of pattern develop over the next day or two? In which case, we would rotate right back down within the range. So are we going to blast off here, or do we see another topping type of pattern that takes us back within the range? So coming up here into the top end of the target between 34.6 and 34.800. We really need through 34.8 to really open up the upside. Otherwise, we could be fading right back within the range up ahead. Until then, right now, this market remains quite bullish, so you don't want to fade into this strength just yet. But if we do see a strong rejection develop, perhaps a return back into the range could be ahead. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this develops heading into the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.